financial argument. Follow us on YouTube.
There we have it, everyone. Bitcoin is now dead once again. Unfortunately, we saw its rise hit a high in early June of nearly $3,000 of Bitcoin, and now it's 2,000. It was even below 2,000 for a short period of time here, and it's now dead. They were right. All these columnists who've been cheering for Bitcoin's demise, calling it a bubble at $10, $30, $100. Certainly it's a bubble now. $500, $1,000, right? We were all waiting for it to go back to 500 when it hit 1,000, but it didn't stop at 1,000. It went to 1,500 and then went into overdrive, going to $3,000. Certainly, it sucks that if you bought Bitcoin at 3,000 and it's now 2,000, yeah, that's a 33% loss on your money. This is the type of moves that we are going to see in the crypto market. I don't think volatility is going to slow down right away. Now, I do believe it's going to stabilize. And by the way, I was being facetious. I don't actually think Bitcoin bubble is bursting to its demise. Certainly it's going to correct and have a new base of support where new people come onto the market and buy at these levels and create new support. That's important for any market. Google, Amazon, right? Facebook. These types of businesses have seen major moves in their prices. And when that happens, yeah, you can't expect a stock or any asset class when everyone is sitting on gains to not see some corrections. At $3,000 just over a month ago, every single person who has ever purchased Bitcoin was sitting on profits. And that's something that should worry you when you buy into an asset. So corrections are good when people are selling and new people come in to buy to support it at a higher price. Bitcoin confirmed transactions per day since its inception in 2009, out of the bellies of the 2008 financial crisis. Bitcoin was born, and we saw it steadily increase in transactions per day. And this is important because this is fundamental network uses. This is new businesses taking Bitcoin. And the more people used it, the more it went up in price. And we've seen that. It's gone up, up, up. And it just so happened to peak right here, right in May here, right before we saw the June pullback, the June high, and the pullback in Bitcoin. We can see here, Bitcoin, it went up to roughly $3,000 at this spot here, and then starts to pull back. So right at the point when transaction volume peaked, so did the price, and that's that euphoric stage that everyone was getting in, and it'll just keep going and going and going. Is it ever going to stop? And sure enough, it did have a pullback, and that's what I think it was. It was a pullback. And then we have all these different people here, investing.com. Yes, it's a bubble and it's about to burst. All these people who've been cheering for the Bitcoin bubble, that it will go down to some intrinsic value of zero because they just don't get it. They don't understand what's happening. And it's just, there's so many people just cheering for Bitcoin's demise, and I don't believe that's going to happen. And these are the same people, again, who've been saying Bitcoin was a bubble at $500, $1,000, and they just, what do they do? They're throwing darts at a board, saying that it's going to come down, but the real underlined issue, the real underlying trajectory of the cryptocurrency world is that it's a new monetary revolution, and that the blockchain is here to stay despite price. Now, no one wants to see it crash to nothing because that'll shake out a lot of people and people that want to use it. We need is stability in the price. And as we see this transaction volume here continue to rise, this is going to be the key in fundamental growth in Bitcoin and any cryptocurrency. Because if we're not seeing this take off, the network effect of people using it on a fundamental, real basis for transacting, then there's no real underlying support. It's just speculation. And as long as we continue to see this build out, which we've seen, I mean, Bitcoin, look, back in 2013 when we saw Bitcoin hit its, $1,200 high, $1,100 high, the transaction volume was nothing compared to when Bitcoin hit its $1,200 high here. The amount of people using it far exceeded what we saw here back in 2013. We were seeing less than 50,000 transactions a day, or about 50,000 transactions a day. And here we were at 200,000. So that's a big deal, and that's an important point here. And for anyone who thinks that the cryptocurrency isn't a major bubble, look, I mean, who would have thought the US dollar would be doing as good as it's doing with the government printing it into existence and then just putting its stamp of approval on it? What we have here is a currency where the free market is saying this is what we want to use. We believe in it. We believe in the coding behind it. We believe in the infrastructure. We like that it's limited in supply. And sure enough, we see it continuing to rise. So let's talk about cryptocurrency and precious metals and kind of the relation there is right now. Right now, there really isn't a strong relation. Now, they both started, at least cryptocurrency started, as a monetary component, a competitor to the fiat currency system. Out of the deep belly of the financial crisis of 2008 was Bitcoin born. And it's been very useful for people that have been dealing with their governments and the problems that existed in their governments, and people were able to put their money into precious metals and then now something like Bitcoin and instantly transfer their wealth outside of the borders and outside of the confinements of the conventional system, which again was imploding. It's the free market saying, I need to get out of the current fiat dollar that exists in whatever, Cyprus, Greece, Euro, Europe, Japanese yen, China, the controls that are existing there, Venezuela, Argentina. I know there's problems all over the place, and people are looking for alternatives, and Bitcoin was a great solution for that. And so is precious metals, although precious metals, a little harder to transport around, but there's a longer monetary history. And you can argue that there's a little more stability that exists with gold and silver than there is cryptocurrency. But at this very point right now, I think we should learn something from Bitcoin that we will be able to apply to gold and silver. And that is, I believe gold and silver are trading at an equivalent of Bitcoin $400, Bitcoin $300. At gold right now at $12.25 or so, and silver at $16. Bitcoin 400 was a time that resembled a period when not many people believed in it. There wasn't a lot of confidence behind it. It wasn't known to the degree it is now, and it had gone up a few years ago and it had come down, and we saw it go up and down quite a bit, and there was just a lot of uncertainty that existed with Bitcoin. And I feel like that is where we are right now with gold. Gold is just misunderstood, and many people are disgruntled with it, and those who are accumulating now are understanding that there's long-term benefits to owning the precious metals at these prices. And it's going to take gold breaking through 13, 1400, 1500, 16, 17, maybe $1,800 until people really start to come around and understand that there's going to be some serious moves that take place in the precious metals, and it's going to take that big upward price action, price confirmation for the confidence to enter these metals. And I feel like those who understand where we are right now can accumulate before we go into this euphoric stage, because you don't want to be buying Bitcoin at $3,000. You want to say, I have my Bitcoin and I accumulated it in the 3-digit range, and now I'm holding it while it does its big move. You want to be in a position where you can sit back while gold and silver run, rather than have to panic into them, because that's just a recipe to lose. And for every gold and silver person out there who is opposed to the cryptocurrencies, who is now coming out and saying, hey, look, see, Bitcoin is in a bubble, keep in mind that even if gold goes to 10,000, 20,000 like we all think is possible, don't you think that there's going to be some big corrections if we see it move the way we all think it's going to move? If it runs to $20,000 in a short period of time, you can pretty much bet that it's going to go from 20 to 17,000, maybe back to 15,000 in a very short period of time, because lots of people, just like Bitcoin, are going to be sitting on a lot of gains, and they will certainly sell. And that's something that's important, because there's going to be people, when this happens, getting in at the absolute highs, because they're going to say, oh, I guess it's just not going to stop. It's going to just keep going up indefinitely. $50,000, $100,000 gold price, maybe, but having to call that top is going to be nearly impossible. And where you will be better positioned is buying now and not having to make those decisions, and just holding on to it. If you want to say, hey, I'm very comfortable with my position now, and I believe that the price is destined to go much higher. And sure, there'll be a day when you'll want to sell if it does have a massive move, especially if your portfolio goes over allocated to a large degree into precious metals. Maybe you're 50, 60, 70% precious metals because of all the gains that you have. You might consider taking some off the table at that time. But just keep in mind that there are going to be some major moves with precious metals. And if we've learned anything from gold and silver and the crypto market, is that we should be getting in now and not panicking when they have their big moves later. So I'm going to be at the Sprott conference next week, and I'm going to be shaking hands with 7-footers in the resource industry. I'm talking about guys like Amir Adnani, Keith Neumeyer, long-term business-minded people, smart, that know how to deliver value. And look, as much as I own precious metals, as much as I own the cryptos, I'm in the resource space too, because I believe that there's highly leveraged opportunities and exposure that I can have in the resource market. And the companies that I'm involved with, especially that are tied to these two people. I'm looking forward to shaking Rick Rule's hand and meeting other people at this conference. And because cryptocurrency has become such a big deal, you can bet that there are going to be companies there that are cryptocurrency based. And I look forward to meeting some of these people and seeing the technology that is coming around in this space as well. So I look forward to touching base with everyone while I'm at the conference. Until then, keep visiting me at crushthestreet.com. Thanks, everybody.